Well, we had a tornado warning earlier this evening, and I thought this was a good opportunity to do a Facebook Live video since I'm in here at work tonight. You know, I will say this, got some people complaining when we did a severe weather cut-in that they were missing their football game, and let me just say this. You know, if you had a tornado heading towards your house, let's say your kids are crying because they're scared, and you go to turn on the TV and the weatherman's like, you know what, I'm not going to do a weather cut-in tonight so that some guy can be watching his football game. I mean, really? Football game's more important than our friends' lives? I mean, really? I gotta say, sometimes I am blown away with how people love to spew hate these days. It just feels like sometimes people are addicted to saying mean things on social media. They'll say things on social media that they wouldn't normally say. With that, I will get off that. We've got a lot of things to discuss. So the remnants of Nate will be moving in our direction. Nate remains a hurricane. Officially, Nate has made landfall now on the mouth of the Mississippi River and then is ultimately going to be moving in our direction. So we need to talk about a couple things here. Severe weather threat with this front as we move through the overnight hours. As the remnants of Nate move towards our area, what should you expect? Guys, what I would ask as we jump into this discussion is, I say this on a regular basis, but you guys are my partners when we do a Facebook Live video, and what's important to me is that I reach as many people as possible. Simply put, that's my job. So what I ask of you guys is that you can help me to reach as many people as possible by sharing the video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the video over to WDRB News and WDRB Weather, and then what I would ask you guys to do is share it. If everybody shares the video 2 times, we will easily make it to our share goal tonight. We'll make it early. And you won't have to hear me say share or anything like that for the whole rest of the video. So let's get our 2 shares per person early, and then that way we won't have to discuss any shares. If we make it over 1,000 shares tonight, we will be above 1,000 shares for the 109th consecutive night. So quite frankly, it is pretty remarkable, to be honest. So let me make sure I share this onto the WDRB News and WDRB Weather page, and then we'll jump into our discussion. So there's on WDRB News. I'm going to do the same briefly onto WDRB Weather. Then we'll jump into this discussion. So one more share for me. Remember, everybody shares the video 1 time, or excuse me, 2 times per person. We'll easily get ourselves up over 1,000 shares. We won't have to talk about it for the rest of the night. So let me do my second share onto WDRB Weather. I apologize. Facebook's fast on the apps. Boy, it really is. But on browsers and desktops, it is not fast at all. So all right, there we go. It's on WDRB News and WDRB Weather. On you guys now, you guys need to be doing the rest of the shares. Let's discuss. What we're going to start by discussing is we're going to go to the Gulf of Mexico. I want to show you Nate, then we're going to jump into our area, what to expect. I will give everybody time as we go through this video to answer questions. The video goes till 8:25. The challenge is up to get to 1,000 shares by 8:25. But let's begin our discussion in the Gulf. This is Nate. Nate has now officially made landfall in the mouth of the Mississippi per the update from the National Hurricane Center. Nate's not a high-end hurricane, but it's still a hurricane with 85-mile-an-hour winds. Nate's not the strongest hurricane we've ever seen. Nate does not resemble Irma. It's not Maria, but it still does indeed have 85-mile-an-hour winds. It's rocketing to the north at 20 miles an hour, and I can tell you that this movement has been a very, very good thing. Because Nate is moving so fast, the positive of that is that it means it's not going to stay over the ocean as long. So Nate's going to make its move off to the north, becoming a tropical storm as it goes through northern Alabama, going through southeastern part of Kentucky. One of the things I will mention is a lot of times south and east of the actual track where the eye goes, or the center of circulation, you will have a tornado threat. What you'll notice is most of our area is northeast of the track tomorrow. So this traditionally means the tornado threat is mitigated. It doesn't mean it's 0, but it is lower. As we move through the overnight, we have indeed seen a tornado threat develop in parts of our area. What you're starting to see is this back edge line. So the line that's from Terre Haute through around Evansville, the back edge of this line is getting beat up and it's dying. And in that process, what we're seeing is the main line becoming the show. And this is what we expected as we went through today, is for this main line to turn into the show. What we have also seen is we've seen a tornado warning within this line. As we move across our area, you'll notice as I show you zooms, you can see we continue with storms as we go towards Seymour, storms as we go through the Driftwood area, continuing with storms as we move southward through the southeast area. You saw the tornado warning earlier. That storm is in the northern part of Washington now and the southern part of Jennings and Jackson County. So this is the storm that did have a tornado warning on it earlier. Let's take a look and see if there's any rotation still within that line, and there is. You can see you've got these little kinks within the line where there's rotation. I will tell you that I don't see anything within the northern part of the line right now that justifies a tornado warning. We see a little hook just north of Salem, and we see again a small area of rotation. And I can tell you guys as a meteorologist, the whole line, virtually this entire line is rotating. It doesn't mean that they tornado, but it means you have wind that is highly supportive of organized severe weather. It's just we don't have a ton of fuel, thankfully. We've got storms right now as we move from southeast through English, and then we've got this southern end of the line that is from Madisonville through around Tell City. And as I show you guys taking this out and putting it into motion, you can see the back edge of the line that was stronger earlier is basically collapsing, and this is all now consolidating into one main line from Seymour through around Tell City through around Madisonville. And what you'll see here as we look at the overnight hours, this is the fuel values. Notice the fuel values are much better as you look at Elizabethtown and Campbellsville, but once you go to around 1 a.m., the fuel values are basically washing out. And when you look towards tomorrow morning, there is no fuel. So our fuel is going to be marginally supportive of a couple of rotating thunderstorms with highly supportive wind energy through about midnight through around 1. And you can see the wind energy also. This is 8 p.m. Now remember, you don't live a mile above the ground, and that's where we're looking. So the winds a mile above the ground at 8 p.m. are really strong at 52 miles an hour. So you go outside, you look at those clouds, and you're probably saying, man, those clouds are rocketing to the northeast. Right. We don't live there. But this speaks to the fact that there's tons of wind energy tonight. At midnight, wind energy is still high. By tomorrow morning, the wind energy is basically gone. So we'll take a look at advanced track here, and I'd like to spend a little time looking at this. You'll notice the time frame right here, and advanced track showing you simulated radar. At 9 p.m., you still do have strong storms. So if you're wondering in Louisville, when does this get here? Between 9 and 10. You'll notice southern Indiana, you're generally in the clear by 10. As we move towards midnight, you'll notice the line is now starting to shift south of the river. You'll notice it's cooling. And then you'll see as we go to around 3 a.m., the intensity has come down significantly. You still see storms, but this is transitioning towards a heavy rain scenario. You can see we continue to see waves from Nate as we go through the day on Sunday. And let me tell you something. Some of this rain is going to be really heavy at times. I think, Kim and I were talking about this, that waves is the best way to describe this, but you can see the computer model data shows a lot of rain still, even on top of what we have seen already. Data showing another 2 to 4 inches of rain south of the river, but not as much as you go north of the river. My sense is southern Indiana, you're not going to see as much rain. My sense based on the latest data is along and south of the river, you are going to see the heaviest rain, and there is significant amount that remain on the table. So recapping what we're talking about, and I want to give you guys a chance for questions because I know there's going to be plenty. But recapping what we're talking about, severe weather potential is not over. Isolated tornadoes and damaging winds are the primary threat. Are we talking about an outbreak? We are not. But I can't rule out that stray, strong to severe, with an isolated tornado. I feel like the main threat would be southern Indiana and then in Kentucky west of I-65. I think that's going to be the greatest threat for isolated severe with damaging winds and an isolated tornado overnight. My sense is that threat will last through around 2 a.m. And then that chance would really go and fall off. Heavy rain then becomes a threat after that as we move forward. And that's kind of where we stand as we go through the overnight hours. I'll mention one thing one more time. And I've said this a bunch, but negativity has no place anymore, in particular after the week that we've had in this country. If somebody's going to come onto my Facebook page or onto my Twitter page and blast me for cutting in during a tornado warning because you're trying to watch football, you're not going to have my sympathy. You're just not. I understand that you want to watch football, but my friends and my community come first. I think everybody knows that I would much rather on my day off be sitting at home, laying on the couch, and relaxing like everybody else on their day off. I'm at work because I care for this community. We had a severe weather threat. I told you last night that we could very well see a tornado warning today. We saw the tornado warning, and all I ask is just let me do my job and let me help protect our community. That's the most important thing. If your child, let's say, was outside playing football and there's a tornado warning, you probably want to know what's going to happen. That's my job, to keep you safe. And a football game is never going to come before keeping our community safe. So with that, I'd like to open it up to some questions. Anything about severe weather potential during the overnight hours is game. Remember, guys, our goal is to get to 1,000 shares for the 109th consecutive night. If everybody shares the video 2 additional times, we're easily up over 1,000. After you share the video 2 additional times, comment down below and I'll give you a shout out. Cindy's saying, do your thing. Charlotte's saying people come before football. And you know what? I can make a resounding statement about that by simply cutting in when I need to. And like I said, you guys matter more. Hardin County, my feeling is after midnight, the rain thunderstorms are going to be pulling in. Cloverport, my sense is probably between 1 and 3 when it's all said and done. Robin's asking, do I think St. James Court Art Show will see rain tomorrow? The answer is yes. I think it's going to come in waves tomorrow, but I think some of it's going to be heavy at times. Jason's saying, I have a dinner cruise in Prospect between 1 and 4. There is going to be waves of thunderstorms. Ricky's asking about tornado threat for Madison. I wouldn't put it at 0, but if you are going to see that, it would probably be over the next 2 to 3 hours. Brandon's saying in Charlestown, do I think it'll be gone by midnight? Marginally, but more likely by 2, the initial wave will have moved south. Chad's saying, do I think there's a chance of a quick spin up in Louisville? It is on the table. When do I expect winter temperatures? Not in the next 7 days. Jennifer's saying, is there a tornado threat for Corydon? Immediately no, but there are still storms. In Corydon, does that mean bad storms here? It's not off the table still. I'm going to update you guys on where we are on our shares. 761, guys. Everybody share the video another time, and we're easily up over 1,000. Okay, so Karen's saying, I have a question about radar. Most tornado warnings are based on radar scans that update once every 5 minutes. Great question, Karen. So let me answer that question, because I think that's a phenomenal question. So, do you guys remember the Joplin tornado? Thumbs up if you guys remember the Joplin tornado. It was a vicious tornado. I think most people probably remember that. I don't know if you know, but after that tornado occurred, what happened is the National Weather Service did an assessment. Basically, let's look at our performance and let's see how we can improve. And what they determined is that when you have a situation like Joplin where the tornado intensifies at a ridiculously fast pace, refreshing a scan every 5 minutes is not fast enough. And so what they recommended is that we offer another mode within our radar, so that in these scenarios where there's severe weather, we can scan more quickly. What they did is, instead of doing all of the scans going way high up, they're only doing low-level scans now with the National Weather Service radar, which quite frankly is the best that we've got. And that was smart, because what that means is you now get really fast refreshes. You get refreshes about every 2 to 2.5 minutes. On top of that, we have what's referred to as a terminal Doppler that lives in Bullitt County that scans across our area, that only scans low level, that gives you rapid updates on radar data. So in the current era of meteorology, we get scans very, very quickly. So that's a great question, but it's no longer a concern with sales mode. Paul is asking about when she's going to get fall weather. It's going to start to trend a little cooler, but I don't think we're talking about legit fall yet. 20 shares from Evelyn. Thank you, Evelyn. A share from Georgia. Thank you, Georgia. 2 more shares from Crystal. Thank you, Crystal. Teresa with a bunch of shares. I appreciate that. Thank you. 2 more shares from Tony. Thank you. Norma with 2 shares. Thank you, Norma. Ricky and Abby with a share. Thank you. Dave's asking why Brandenburg gets a lot of tornadoes. So Brandenburg saw the 1974 event, but if you recall in 2012, they did not see the 2012 event. So the truth is that some areas get more tornadoes than others. You know, I will say that there does appear within our area to be a favored track. If you look back historically, that comes basically through Breckenridge, Meade, let's say through Clark, Floyd, even Jefferson County, where we do see slight more tornadoes. I don't think it's geographical. I think it more has to do with low tracks, where the actual low pressures track. So, Tiana with a bunch of shares. Thank you, Tiana. Everybody shares one more time each, and like I said, guys, this is an easy one to get up over 1,000 shares. We've got a little more time in our video, so I want to continue to ask or answer any questions about severe weather potential. Will Shields with 32 shares. Thank you, Will. 6 shares from Heather. Thank you. Glenna is saying lots of wind in the Salem area, and that's that little weak storm, and you kind of can see, you know, despite the fact that virtually all of this has almost no lightning on it in our area, everything is rotating, and we've got to watch this stuff pretty close. I'm going to tell you that we're probably not going to see many tornado warnings, but I'm going to tell you at the same time, I'm here because I thought there would be a tornado warning today, and there was, and I'm going to tell you that there still could be, so that's the reason I'm still here. 3 shares from April asking about the chance of tornadoes in Sellersburg. It's not 0, but remember, more people would not see a tornado than will today, but there is still the potential of a warning. Hardinsburg during the overnight, the main line is going to be in your area within about 90 minutes. 2 more shares in Crawford County. The strongest of the storms is in the county now. I would say your chance of any severe goes down after about 11 p.m. Shepherdsville should be in Shepherdsville between 10 and around midnight. That is when your best chance of severe would be. Henryville, probably in my opinion, is about 90 minutes from now, which would put it around 9:30 to 10. Grayson County, rain, thunderstorms will be moving in probably between 10 and midnight. Will there be a lot of lightning from Dave? No, this one actually doesn't have much lightning at all. Reason is there's not a lot of fuel. There's just tons of wind energy. Carol's saying, where's the rain, Carol? The chances tonight. The real rain chance goes up tonight. Lanisha's saying, did I say Hardinsburg? Yeah, about 90 minutes from now. Louisville weather, rain chance goes up significantly between around 9:15 or 9:30 and around 10:15. What's it look like for Elizabeth, Indiana? Rain thunderstorms pick up probably in the next 60 minutes. Can't rule out severe still. I again would say that it's going to be isolated, not the norm, but it's not off the table. Andrew's asking about lightning. Should the activity be low? Yes, because there's not a ton of fuel. Tamara with 3 shares. Thank you, Tamara. I appreciate that. Chasm is asking about threat to Louisville. The storms, again, I can't say there's no tornado threat because there remains a small one. But that threat would be going up between 9:30 and around, let's say, 10:30 in Louisville. Ava's asking about, does the river matter for severe? It doesn't matter at all. That is such a dangerous lore that lives in our area. I know I've seen it a lot of times, hearing people say the Ohio River protects. So 1974, tornado forms in Brandenburg, blasts across the Ohio River, and really, quite frankly, it doesn't care. The Bullitt County EF4 tornado, that storm comes out of Floyd County, crosses the Ohio River, and tornadoes in southern Jefferson County. If the Ohio River matters, somebody forgot to tell that storm. 2012, the monster tornado goes through Pekin, Borden, Henryville, crosses over the Ohio River near Chelsea. Somebody forgot to tell that tornado that the Ohio River matters because that one went right onto the Ohio River. So the reality is the Ohio River does not affect it at all. It is bad lore. Shelbyville, my feeling for Shelbyville is post 10 p.m. if there's a threat. E-Town rain, yeah, I think probably about after midnight, your rain chance goes up significantly. Terry's asking about tomorrow morning. I think there's going to be a slight break in the morning, and then the waves pick up mid-morning. Farron with 3 shares, Ann with 9 shares. Thank you, Ann. Let me just quickly see where we stand on our shares. Remember, our goal is to get up over 1,000 shares for the 109th consecutive night. We've been doing that since January, which quite frankly is a remarkable stat that you guys have shared the video over 1,000 times since January. If you think about that, sharing the video 1,000 times for 109 videos in a row, that means this year you guys have shared my video over 109,000 times. 109,000 times. That is crazy. Scottsburg, storms are pretty close to you now. If there's nothing imminent with that said, but if you're going to see a severe threat between 8:45 and let's say 9:30. All right, we're almost at 1,400 shares, so remember, continue to like, love, and share the video, but you guys are indeed safe. We made it over 1,000 shares for the 109th consecutive night. Madison, my feeling for Madison is the threat comes up between 10 and around midnight. I don't think you're talking about a monster threat, but I can't take it off the table. Sheriff from Duval, thank you. Frankfurt, I don't think you're going to have the wind energy or the storm organization to produce organized severe for you. Does Lawrence County have a chance of seeing a tornado tonight? I feel like with the main line being passed, your chance is down significantly. Cody's saying, I appreciate all you do. I visited his elementary school when he was 7, and he's 21 now. You know, I appreciate those stories. The thing about a lot of the events that we do is we have to actually take that out of our own personal time. And in that, I don't say that to complain, because that's not at all. I just want you guys to know that a lot of us care about this community so much that we do that stuff. We really do. And we do it just because we hope to have an impact, you know. And it's nice to hear those stories, Cody. It really is, because we spend a lot of time trying to get out and educate and maybe just even get people excited about science. And it's nice to see 14 years later someone saying thank you for something that we did. So I really do appreciate that comment. Thank you. 2 shares from Cindy. Thank you, Cindy. A share out of Mount Washington from Stacy. Thank you. Greenville, Indiana. I think that with the main line going through Greenville, I think your chance comes down. Campbellsville, will you get rain? Campbellsville, you didn't say which. I'm going to guess Campbellsville, Kentucky, and my feeling is, yeah, a ton tomorrow. Lauren asking about Louisville, should she be concerned? There is no tornado warning now. There has only been 1 tornado warning thus far. Doesn't mean it's at 0, because it's not. There still is huge wind energy. My sense is before midnight would be the best chance if we're to see anything. A share from Robert. Thank you, Robert. Do I think it's going to be severe in Shepherdsville? So here's the thing. I can't tell you for one town and one county, unfortunately, because everything has a potential. But what I can tell you is that if we got a tornado warning, we're not going to get a ton of them. But with that said, I'm obviously here because I was pretty convinced we were going to get a tornado warning today. So I can tell you that if you live within our area, the chance is not 0. It still exists. But I can tell you're not talking about a really high echelon threat. Those that are just joining, can I get an update? Absolutely. Let me give you guys a radar update so you know where we stand. Radar right now showing thunderstorms as we continue. Storms right now as we look towards Seymour. There's no lightning on this. Want to look within the thunderstorm to see if there's any rotation. And you can see you've got these little areas where the colors change. And everything, I mean basically everything is showing mid-level rotation today. It's because the wind energy is crazy strong. We've got rain right now from Salem through English, rain as we go to Ferdinand, and then you've got some lightning thunder from Madison through around Tell City. And taking you out to our viewing area and putting it into motion, you can see everything rocketing towards the northeast at 45. This line's going to continue to move across our area, pivot as it gets south of the river, and this will be the beginning of some very heavy rain as we go over the next 48 hours. The chance of tornadoes remains there. I think that the chance of tornadoes is not super high. It's also not 0. I told you yesterday that I thought we would get a tornado warning today. We did. And I can tell you as we stand right now, I don't think that threat is at 0. So the bottom line is I'm going to stay because I feel like we still have a threat of severe weather, isolated tornado, or an isolated damaging wind would be the primary threat. All right, guys, it's 8:25. Let me give you guys an update on our final share total for tonight. We did make it up over 1,000 shares for the 109th consecutive night, which is a crazy feat. You guys are awesome. You really are. Please remember to continue to like, love, and share the video, and you can do it even after it comes to an end. I'll be watching the storms as we go through the night. I know that football is on. I can tell you guys at the same time, your safety is more important. And if you want to complain about me cutting in during your football games, go ahead. I'm still not going to listen because my friends, my community are more important. And I'm going to put the safety of our community first every single time. I'm not going to compromise. So we're at 1,600 shares. Please remember you can continue to like, love, and share the video. I will cut into programming as necessary. And if needed, I'll do another Facebook video again later. Remember, continue to like, love, and share the video. And hopefully I don't see you guys again tonight. But if you need me, I will be here.